It doesn't always look like intelligence, not the way we expect it to. Sometimes, it looks like silence in a room full of noise, like hesitation when everyone else is certain, like someone who speaks less but sees more. There's a moment most people overlook. In a group conversation, someone makes a bold claim, confident, clear, convincing. Everyone nods. But there's one person who doesn't. They don't interrupt. They don't argue. They just pause, observing. Later, when the conversation fades, they quietly say, "Are we sure that's actually true?" No drama, no ego, just a question. And suddenly, the certainty in the room begins to crack. Most people associate intelligence with speed, quick answers, strong opinions, the ability to respond instantly. But there's a quiet contradiction here, because often, the fastest response is not the most accurate one. And the loudest voice is not the most thoughtful. Highly intelligent individuals tend to move differently. They pause longer, they question more, and sometimes they appear uncertain. While others rush to conclusions, they sit with complexity. Here's the uncomfortable part. The traits we admire socially, confidence, certainty, quick thinking, are not always signs of intelligence. In fact, they can sometimes signal the opposite. Because the less someone understands the depth of a situation, the easier it is for them to feel sure about it. And the more someone truly understands, the harder it becomes to simplify reality into clean, certain answers. Intelligence, in many cases, doesn't feel like clarity. It feels like awareness of how much you don't know. This connects to a well-documented psychological phenomenon, the tendency for less knowledgeable individuals to overestimate their understanding, while more knowledgeable individuals underestimate theirs. But beyond labels and theories, the deeper mechanism is this. Highly intelligent people tend to think in layers. They don't just process information, they evaluate its source. They question its assumptions. They consider alternative interpretations. And most importantly, they remain open to being wrong. This cognitive flexibility is not weakness. It's a sign of a mind that is actively engaging with reality rather than trying to control it. Psychological research consistently shows a connection between intelligence and traits like intellectual humility, openness to experience, tolerance for ambiguity in studies on decision-making and reasoning. Individuals with higher cognitive ability were more likely to pause before responding, seek additional information, and revise their beliefs when presented with new evidence. This is not because they lack confidence, but because they recognize something others often ignore. That certainty, without reflection, is fragile. There's a quiet paradox at the center of intelligence. The more you understand the world, the less solid it begins to feel. Simple narratives break apart. Black and white thinking dissolves into nuance, and answers become conditional. This can make highly intelligent individuals appear distant or even indecisive. But what's really happening is something deeper. They are not avoiding conclusions. They are resisting the illusion of easy ones. Because real understanding doesn't simplify reality. It reveals its complexity. If you look closely, intelligence often reveals itself in subtle ways. It's in the person who listens more than they speak, not because they have nothing to say, but because they're still gathering information. It's in the person who changes their mind, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it costs them status. It's in the person who asks better questions, instead of giving quick answers. And perhaps most importantly, it's in the person who can hold two conflicting ideas at once, without rushing to resolve the tension. But here's where it becomes complicated. Because society doesn't always reward these traits, in fast-paced environments, hesitation can be mistaken for weakness, nuance can be seen as overthinking, and questioning can feel like resistance. So highly intelligent individuals often find themselves misunderstood. They may be overlooked in conversations, talked over in meetings, or seen as less confident than they actually are. Meanwhile, those who speak with certainty, regardless of accuracy, are more easily believed. This creates a subtle imbalance, where confidence is mistaken for competence and thoughtfulness is mistaken for doubt. So the next time you see someone pause before speaking or question what everyone else accepts, don't mistake it for hesitation, because intelligence is not always loud. It doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it shows up quietly in the ability to sit with uncertainty, to question what feels obvious, and to remain open in a world that demands quick answers. And maybe the clearest sign of intelligence is this: not how much someone knows, but how aware they are of the limits of their own understanding.